Okay, so first of all, greetings and good afternoon. Welcome everyone. It's very good to begin by thinking that it's extremely fortunate that we have this opportunity to come and attend to a Lamrim teaching at this degenerative time. In terms of setting the motivation, Geshe-la has said, I have already explained that you should arrive here with your motivation already set in place and adjusted. So just as you leave your home, you should adjust your motivation and say, now I am going to attend the Lamrim teachings that have the power to lead all the way to enlightenment. And with this thought, every single step that you take towards the center or the location where the teachings are held, every step becomes a virtuous activity. So remember that when we talk about Buddhists, being Buddhist or practicing Buddhism, this is something that places great emphasis on the internal, not so much the external. You know, external activities and so forth are not the most important thing. Now, the whole aim or the focus of Buddhism is to train and discipline the mind, but this is something which is quite difficult. So we understand that if we begin by disciplining our external behavior, physical and verbal behavior, if we manage to get this under control, then we have a much better chance of disciplining the mind. Anyway, without elaborating any further, let's recite Ganden Lagema. Okay, so we are in the section where we are discussing the proper way to rely on the teacher, and we're looking at the benefits of relying on the teacher. So the first one, the benefit is that you come closer to Buddhahood. And this is explained in different ways. The first argument that was given is you come closer to Buddhahood by properly relying on the instructions that your guru has given to you. And in that, we looked at how quickly you can actually achieve that through the practice of Tantra. Especially Hatha Yoga Tantra is renowned for reaching the goal or the end of the path very quickly. And in that, we had also the mention of the example of Milarepa. And Milarepa achieved whatever he achieved very quickly in his life through properly relying on his teacher. Other than the examples of Tantra, we also have examples from the Sutra that indicate that if you know how to properly rely upon your teacher, you can complete the path much faster. And in that, we looked at the story of Bodhisattva Sadaprarudita. His name was Always Crying. It translates as the one who is always crying. And we saw that what was amazing in his life was the type of offerings that he made, offering his body, his blood, and so forth. He offered all those things in order to, make a proper offering to his guru. And the reason why his name was like Always Crying was because he was like so worried that he could not rely properly on his teacher. He didn't have the right offerings, or he wouldn't find the right teacher and so forth, that he was always crying. And Geshe said, we also made the comment how our tears, or the reasons why we cry, are very different from that of the Bodhisattva Sadaprarudita, that was always crying. Anyway, we have completed this section, which is you will come closer to Buddhahood through putting into practice the advice that he has given you. So we come now to the next outline that says you will also come closer to Buddhahood through making offerings to the Guru and serving him. So he begins by saying, you must accumulate an immeasurable collection of primal wisdom and merit in order to reach Buddhahood. The actual word in the Tibetan is not to reach, but is to progress to Buddhahood. And it has this, it communicates this idea that you gradually get closer to Buddhahood. So just as the sun progresses along the sky during the day, so in a similar way, we have the use of the verse progress, which means you're gradually getting closer on the path to Buddhahood. So to get there, you must accumulate an immeasurable collection, both merit and wisdom. But this huge collection is easily acquired. Acquired here means you can gather it. You can put everything that is required together. You put it together. So this huge collection is easily acquired. And the best way is to make offerings to the Guru. So there are different ways of accumulating the merit and wisdom that you need, but nothing surpasses making offerings to the Guru. So the best way is making offerings to the Guru. As it is said, offering to a single pore of the Guru is superior in merit than offering to the Buddhas of the 10 directions and to the Bodhisattvas. Thus, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas see when someone offers to the Master. So the first part, up to the first full stop, it says, you could make offerings to Buddha, you can make offerings to Bodhisattva, you can make offerings to hearers and solitary realizers. Definitely, you will acquire merit through that. But if you make offerings to a pore of the teacher, that will allow you to accumulate merit that surpasses the previous one. So, nothing surpasses making offerings to the Guru himself. In other words, as stated in many tantras and commentaries, it is more beneficial to make offerings to a single pore of the Guru's body than to all the Buddhas in the 10 directions and their children. So to compare to making offerings to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, it is more beneficial to make offerings to one pore of the Guru. So we need to understand this expression here, the pore of the Guru. The pore of the Guru does not refer to the ordinary pores that we have in our body. So it doesn't refer to that. The pore of the Guru is someone that the Guru has great affection towards them. So, for example, the attendant of the Guru, or the dog, the pet dog of the Guru, or the horse of the Guru, or, modern days, not many Gurus are riding horses, the car of the Guru, and so on and so forth. So those things, if you consider those things to be important and make offerings to these things, you accumulate more merit than making offerings to all the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas. So if that is true for making offerings to the pore of the Guru, how much more it is true for making offerings to the Guru himself. Okay, so we have a quotation here from Sakya Pandita. Sakya Pandita says, the merit stock gained by following the 6 perfections and sacrificing head, arms and legs for thousands of eons is gained in but a moment through the Guru path. Shouldn't you rejoice when made to serve him? So he's saying definitely if you follow the 6 perfections, you will have to work very hard to accumulate for a very long time to accumulate the necessary merit. And we see many examples of practitioners having to sacrifice the head, the arms, the legs, different parts of the body, not once or twice, but for thousands of eons. But that merit that is accumulated with so much difficulty over a very long period of time, you can gather all that merit easily in a moment through serving your Guru. So it says, shouldn't you rejoice when you're made to serve him? Shouldn't you rejoice when the circumstances are such that you have the opportunity to serve him, to venerate him, to make offerings to him? In other words, we may gain a huge stock of merit by sacrificing our head, arms and legs for thousands of eons. But we can acquire the same in a single moment by the little trouble it takes to please the Guru. So serve the Guru, make offerings to the Guru, and you will see that by this act, that actually is not so hard to do, and it doesn't take so long to do, you accumulate merit that surpasses the merit of those who are practicing extreme acts for thousands of years or thousands of eons here. Then it says you get closer to Buddhahood because it is that much quicker to build up that amount of merit. So what do we have here? We have this logic that says in order to reach Buddhahood, you need to have a certain amount of accumulation, your merit and your wisdom. So the more you build up this accumulation, the closer you are getting to your destination, to what you want to achieve. So achieving Buddhahood requires a certain amount, a certain volume. And the more you build up, the more, like what you're missing is becoming less and less and less because you're building up. So eventually, the more you build up, the closer you get to Buddhahood. And it says there's no quicker way, there's no better way than to make offerings to your guru. So that's the quickest way. And then it says, it is more powerful to make offerings to human beings than to animals. It is more powerful still to make offerings to Shravakas. Even more powerful to make offerings to Pratyeka Buddhas. And yet more powerful still to offer to Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. But the Guru is the most powerful object of one's offering. So here we are having this comparison and we say, okay, if I were to offer to different objects, which one would give me the biggest merit? So it says you could offer to animals, but actually if you offer to humans, you will get more merit than offering to the animals. Okay, so we see it's more favorable. Then it says it's more powerful to make offerings to Shravakas, who are the hearers. Okay, so offering to a hearer is more powerful, the object is more powerful, so the merit that you get is more than offering to an ordinary human. Then offering to a Pratyeka Buddha, a solitary realizer, is more powerful than offering to a hearer. Then it says offering to Buddhas and Bodhisattvas is even more powerful than offering to solitary realizers. And then it concludes by saying, but the Guru is the most powerful object of one's offering. So if this is the most powerful object, it means if we make offerings to the Guru, we will amass the biggest amount of merit. So there's this comparison in terms of amounts. So we continue with Geshe Tolumpa. So Tulung is the name of a place, right? So he is Geshe Tolumpa. Once he said, I get greater merit by giving food to Lopa's dog than by teaching the Sangha of Tolung about making offerings. So what's he saying here? Obviously, Geshe Tolumpa was aware of that point that says that making offerings to the poor of the Guru gives you more merit than making any other offering. So he says, more merit that I get by making offerings to Lopa's dog. So Lopa was the name of his teacher. His teacher had a dog, and what he used to do is to every day collect any butter that was left over after he had butter tea, and he would give this to the dog. So they say that this Geshe used to collect even the congealed butter left in his bowls after meals and give it to Lopa's dog. So obviously he knew very well that point in terms of the difference of accumulating merit. Now, we have said that making offerings to the poor of the Guru gives you a great amount of merit, greater than offering to many other objects. We're not just fabricating this. This is something that the Buddha himself has said, so it is recorded in the Tantra. So it says in a Tantra, it is better to offer to one poor of the Guru than to all the Buddhas of the 3 times. Note that the phrase offering to one poor of the Guru means offering to the Guru's horse, his watchdog, attendants, and so on. It does not mean his ordinary body pores. So how could you make an offering to the poor of the Guru if it actually referred to the ordinary physical pores? You couldn't make offerings to that. So obviously the expression must have a different meaning. So the poor of the Guru is someone for whom the Guru has a special affection. we have some examples here. It says, for example, the horse of the guru, or the dog, the pet of the guru. And then it mentions the attendants of the guru. So it is not just the main attendant, but it can refer to all these people in the retinue, in the household of the guru. Everyone for whom the guru has a special feeling, special connection. All those are considered to be the poor of the guru. And you can see, Geshe says in the monastery, how people want to practice and implement this according to the practice of the Lamrim, how we need to modify our behavior. So we mentioned that the dog of the guru is considered as one of the pores of the guru. Sometimes those dogs can be quite aggressive, right? And in a monastery you might have many dogs. They can be aggressive, barking. You think, they might bite me or something. And perhaps the first reaction is to pick up a stone and maybe threaten the dog or throw it to the dog and so forth. But thinking that this dog is the poor of my guru, you couldn't possibly throw a stone to the dog. So this is observed. Another thing, obviously here it talks about the attendants. All right, so you might have a situation where someone in the household of the guru, let's say the primary attendant, or someone else in the household of the guru, is living in the monastery and is breaking some rules. Now, there is monastic discipline, and monastic discipline has to be maintained. So when someone breaks the rules, it has to be disciplined, and there are consequences. But considering that that person is a poor of the guru, and that if, let's say, you expel them or if you discipline them harshly and so forth, this might affect the guru because it will make him quite sad, then you obviously avoid this or you moderate the behavior. So there is, as you can see, sometimes, there is exception from the rules for a particular reason. So if you recognize that this person is a poor of the guru, you will treat them in a different way. Okay, so we'll continue now with the second major outline. This section of how to properly rely on the teacher has 8 outlines. We finished with the first one that had 2, and now we have the second major outline. It pleases the victorious ones. So there are 2 ways of thinking about this heading. So we'll begin with the first one. The Buddhas of the 10 directions are willing to teach you Dharma, but you are not even fortunate enough to see the Supreme Nirmanakaya, let alone the Sambhogakaya, because these appear only to ordinary beings with pure karma. So what it says here is that the Buddhas of the 10 directions, so all the Buddhas always have the intention to come and teach us, but we are not fortunate to be able to see them. So if we cannot see them, we cannot interact with them, we cannot receive the teachings. So it says we do not have the good fortune to see the Supreme Nirmanakaya. This is the Supreme Emanation Body. For example, this is how our teacher Buddha Shakyamuni appeared. He appeared in the Supreme Emanation Body. We didn't have the fortune to see him, and it is only individuals with pure karma who can actually see the Supreme Emanation Body. Then it says we cannot even see the Sambhogakaya, which is the enjoyment body. The enjoyment body is a body that can only be seen by Aryan Bodhisattvas. So we cannot see these types of bodies. So although the Buddhas have the wish to teach us, they're there, but we cannot see them, right? So it says, the Buddha manifests his body for us in the Supreme Nirmanakaya form, but we were not fortunate enough to receive Dharma teachings from him in that aspect. We therefore need an enlightened body which is suited to our level of good fortune to teach us Dharma. So what does it mean we need someone who is at our own level? It means that we need to have someone whose conduct or whose fortune or whose level is very similar to ours. When we meet such, if the Buddhas manifest in that aspect, then we will be able to interact. As we say, we cannot see the Supreme Emanation Body, we cannot see the Enjoyment Body. There are many other emanation bodies of the Buddhas, and they come, but we sort of like, we don't believe them. We don't believe they are good teachers, let alone that they are Buddhas, and therefore we don't interact with them. So we need someone who is at our own level and who has a behavior very similar to ourselves. Thus, the victorious ones in the 10 directions emanate themselves as gurus for our own sake, rather than a model committee appointing a spokesman. When we properly devote ourselves to a guru, the Buddhas know it and are pleased. So what it says here, the Buddhas manifest as a guru. So in reality, it is a Buddha, but it takes the appearance of a guru who is more or less similar level with us. And by properly relying on this guru, the Buddhas are pleased. So this is how we please the Buddhas. So we have said this, that the Buddhas manifest in the aspect of the guru. And we have the quotation to support that. It comes from the Essence of Nectar, which is another Lamrim teaching, a Lamrim text. So the Essence of Nectar, Lamrim, says this on how they are pleased. So it explains how the Buddhas are pleased. When you properly rely on a holy spiritual guide, you will soon be liberated from cyclic existence. It means you will be free from all the suffering of cyclic existence, and soon you will reach the state of Buddhahood. Like a mother seeing her child receive help, all the victors are pleased to the depths of their hearts. So if a mother has a child and someone is helping the child, benefiting the child, supporting the child, that really pleases the mother. So here we have to see the guru as being similar to a child, and the mother is similar to the Buddhas. So the Buddhas are looking at the way that we interact with the guru. If we treat that guru properly, the Buddhas are pleased to the bottom of their heart, just like a mother is very much pleased when someone treats nicely her children, isn't it? So it says, in other words, the victorious ones loves us as a mother loves her only child. The Buddhas know this and are pleased that their wishes have been fulfilled when we properly devote ourselves to our gurus, the root of all welfare and happiness, and the only means to free ourselves from the suffering of samsara and the lower realms. So quite a lot of information in this paragraph. First of all, it says that properly devoting ourselves to the guru is the root of all the happiness and well-being that we will experience. And it is the only means to free ourselves from the suffering of samsara and the lower migrations. And by doing this, when we properly devote ourselves to the guru, we actually please the Buddhas. So how are we to think? What is the reason for that establishes that? If you want, the purpose of all the Buddhas, or the task of all the Buddhas, is to liberate all sentient beings. The task of all the Buddhas is to lead all sentient beings to the state of enlightenment. But the Buddha cannot act individually for each and every sentient being. So the Buddha manifests as a guru, and the guru comes, at a level that is appropriate to different groups of sentient beings. So the guru is like a representative of the Buddha. If you treat the guru properly, it's like you're treating the Buddha properly. So that definitely pleases all the Buddhas. So this is the reasoning. The guru is the representative of the Buddhas. If I treat the guru well, this pleases all the Buddhas. Okay, we continue with the second heading here, because we said this, the second of the 8 outlines has 2. It says there are 2 ways to think about it, right? So the previous way was the Buddhas of the 10 directions are willing to teach you Dharma, but you're not fortunate to meet them, and so forth. And the second one is, if you do not rely properly on your guru, you will not please the Buddhas, no matter how many offerings you make to them. So the 5th Dalai Lama quoted the following lines in Manjushri's own words. If you are properly devoted, I will abide in the bodies of people having these qualifications. When these other accomplished beings accept your offerings and are pleased, your mind stream is purified of karmic obscurations. So what does it say? When it says, I will abide, this is the Buddha, meaning the Buddha will emanate bodies, and these bodies will enter and abide in the body of the Guru. And then you come and make offerings to the Guru, and the Guru accepts those offerings. So this is a means for you to amass accumulation and to purify negativity. So there is that very important issue of making the offerings and the Guru taking your offerings, accepting your offerings. In other words, you may not have actually invoked the victorious ones, but they have still taken their places in the Guru's body. So remember when we visualize the Guru and we visualize the 5 Buddhas in the body of the Guru, so definitely the Buddhas have taken their place in the body of your Guru. When he's pleased by your offerings, they are too. But if you were to make offerings to the victors and their children alone, you would receive only the benefit of making the offerings, not of pleasing and delighting them as well. So here is a mistake in the translation. It says you would receive only the benefit of making the offerings, not the benefit of them taking it as well. Okay, so it says if you make offerings to the Buddhas, you accumulate the merit of having made the offering, but you do not accumulate the merit or the benefit of the Buddha taking it. If you make offerings to your Guru, let's say you offer food to your Guru, you accumulate 2 benefits. One is the benefit from the merit from offering the food. The second is that the Guru has taken this, like he has eaten the food, he has actually taken the offering. So there's a double benefit. That is the difference. Okay, so making offerings to the Guru brings the benefit both of the offering itself and of being received, the offering being received by the Buddhas, not pleasing the Buddhas, received by the Buddhas. So we now come to the next outline, is the 3rd out of the 8 outlines in this section. It says you will not be disturbed by demons or bad company. As it says in a sutra, because of your proper reliance on a spiritual guide, your merit greatly increases. Owing to this increase, you will not be bothered by demons and bad company. So bad company here can include different spirits, humans, non-humans, gods, various beings here who might want to interfere. So the message is this: if you properly rely upon the Guru, you accumulate vast amount of merit. If you have that merit, you are protected. And different other beings, humans or non-humans, will not be able to harm you, interfere, create obstacles, and so forth. The Great Place Sutra tells us the wishes of those with merit will be fulfilled. They have defeated the demons and will soon reach enlightenment. So it says the wishes of those with merit will be fulfilled. We know that those who have a lot of merit are successful. So their wishes, their intentions, whatever plans they have, will come to pass. They will be successful. The wishes of those with merit will be fulfilled. They have defeated the demons. So the demons here can refer to different, like the demons of afflictions, the demon of death, untimely death, and so forth. But also it can refer to general interferences from spirits, from other humans, from gods, from all sorts of other beings, right? So they have defeated those. Why? Through the strength of their merit. And will soon, it says here, reach enlightenment. The actual words in Tibetan, they will soon touch enlightenment. Touch means you will come in contact, you will reach, eventually you will reach enlightenment. So, as we are told, gods and demons cannot hinder those with merit. So the message is very clear. Properly rely on the Guru has this incredible benefit of boosting your merit. With this massive amount of merit, number one, you will be successful. Number two, you will not be harmed by any demons, interferences, humans, non-humans, whoever has bad intentions towards you. So there is a very important line here in this quotation, the first one: the wishes of those with merit will be fulfilled. So we have to understand that this is something that obviously applies in this life, and it can apply to future lives as well. But if we look at the experiences, everything that we have and we enjoy in this life, whatever success, whatever luxuries, whatever things we can afford in this life, basically they are the results of a merit from previous lives. And that is very good to always keep in mind. Otherwise, we have that tendency to think that I made all this, I'm important, I created all this, I can now use it, you know, I can spend my money, I can have this, I can have that luxury, I can have it all, and I made it. It's not like this. Whatever we experience now is, as we say, the result of previous lives. We didn't make it in this life. In this life actually is just a condition just like the water and the fertilizer that act as the conditions for the growth of a sprout out of a seed, isn't it? So we have to be very careful, and one cannot be careful enough with enjoying and spending out merit, isn't it? The thing is that the more things we enjoy, the more we exhaust or the more we use up our previously accumulated merit. But what we have to consider is that we need to save up some merit, because we have to consider next life. We want to consider that in the future we want to reach the state of Buddhahood, we want to become arhats and so forth. And those things take a considerable amount of merit. So if you are in this life just spending or burning up merit like there's no tomorrow, that is a big mistake. People don't know how to use their merit. People think it's very good to just enjoy it all. Now it's a time to enjoy all of this. And also people are not very skillful in adding something to the merit, or like being a little bit frugal, saving up merit and then adding a little bit of merit. So for example, you might go to a restaurant, or in your home every day have a table that is spread out, I don't know, with 50 dishes. And you say, here it is, all for me to enjoy. Yes, you can enjoy this, but you are using up a lot of merit. So it's much better if you can reduce your consumption, if you can reduce your needs. Like, I don't need to have the best of everything and as much of everything. A little bit or that much is enough, is sufficient. So you have to be a little bit frugal. You have to be careful how much merit you spend, and also know on what you should spend your merit. It's very much like money. You have some money in the bank, very good. But if you're only taking money out of the bank, this money obviously is going to be exhausted. If you're not making some new deposits, then definitely you will run out of money. And then you have to kind of like balance how much you take out with how much you put in, because you want to be able to continue taking out. You want to be able to continuously take money out of the bank. So it is exactly like this with the merit. The thing is that most people don't realize that what we enjoy now is the result of previous merit. Most people don't know how to measure, how to limit how much merit they are burning up. They are burning it up like it's endless, which is not. And people don't know how to supplement, how to build up, how to gather merit, and in general, how to maintain that collection that is necessary for the future as well. So these days in Singapore, the government is having this campaign to reduce food waste. Food waste is a very important issue, right? So obviously it is a problem. A lot of people are buying all this food and then instead of using it properly, they are just wasting it. So waste is not a good thing. And when it comes to food and any other resources, if you are over-consuming, it means that other people are left without. So for you to waste food, at the end of the day, it means someone else is lacking food, will be without food. So it's a very good campaign. Although the government is not using terms such as you're wasting your merit and so forth, you have to maintain or safekeep your merit. They're not using this term. They're talking about wasting food and the need to preserve whatever resources we have. And this is something which is very beneficial. We must actually pay great attention to that and abide by the guidelines. It is not good for the government. It is not good for the individuals if there is waste in any area, specifically here in terms of the food. Okay, so Geshe would like to stop tonight with that very powerful verse. Though the wishes of those with merit will be fulfilled, they have defeated the demons and will soon reach enlightenment. So we have a little bit of time for one question. So if you have a question, please ask.
Thank you, Geshe-la, for the teaching. Actually, I have two questions. One question is, when we refer to Guru, does it mean the one with the heart-son relationship? Those with heart-son relationship? And the next question is...
Sorry, wait. I didn't hear, I didn't understand the question.
My question is, when we refer to the Guru here, does it reference to those with the heart-son relationship? That means the Guru takes the disciple as his heart-son. Heart, the H-E-A-R-T-S-O-N. The heart disciple?
The expression the heart son, does that mean the close disciple?
Yes.
Is this the question?
Yes.
Okay, so we have two levels of explanation in this, in your first question. So first of all, talking about some disciples that seem to be very close to the Guru, they are like the heart disciples or the sons of the Guru, might be referred like this. So this indicates that the Guru has a special connection. Now, in today's teachings, we had this expression, the pores of the Guru. And we explained that as someone towards whom the Guru has a warmer or a closer connection, someone for whom the Guru has great affection, isn't it? On one hand, you have to understand that the Guru actually has no partiality. It doesn't like one person or one disciple more than the others, because the Guru is the Buddha, and the Buddha does not make such distinctions. However, since he is manifesting in an ordinary human aspect, he is going to assume the conduct or the common behavior of an ordinary person. And we ordinary people, we cannot help it. We are closer with some and we're a little bit more distant than others, and we exhibit this affection, stronger affection for some people, and we say, oh, this person is so close to my heart. So the guru also is going to demonstrate this type of behavior. It's not due to partiality of the guru, it is actually one of the deeds. So the guru is teaching something here for us, and he's just manifesting this particular activity. So through that we have the pores of the guru, and we can make offerings to the pores of the guru and accumulate great merit. The other thing that Geshe-la elaborated upon is that whole idea of being close to the heart of the guru, or pleasing the guru. And we say that many times here, we say if we make offerings to please the guru. Okay, so, and we see that the guru is actually accepting our offering, and he might even indicate that he's pleased with that offering. Okay, so there is, we need to analyze this situation. Why is the guru pleased? Is it because he's saying, oh, look at these goodies, look, they bought me the most expensive this or that, Is it that the guru has attachment and is delighted because we made him an expensive present? It's not like that. The guru is delighted because he can see that we had the opportunity to accumulate a lot of merit. So the guru is delighted on our behalf because we accumulated that much merit. All right? So this is what actually pleases the guru. So this is an understanding of who is close to the heart of the guru, why the guru shows this, and how we please the guru.
Okay, so then my second question is linked this way, is that I thought the guru must be a heart disciple of the relationship. What about if those who have no guru, those who doesn't have any guru, and they make offerings to the teacher or the master that is giving the teaching, do they still accumulate the same kind of benefit?
So ideally, when you meet a Lama, at some point you will recognize that Lama as being your guru. You will develop the proper attitude. You will want to rely upon this teacher. You will take him as your teacher. And then, having developed this relationship with this attitude, then if you make offerings to this Lama, to this teacher, you will accumulate the type of merit that we were talking about. Otherwise, of course, there are many Lamas. But if from your own side, if you don't cultivate that recognition, at least one of them must be someone that you decide, okay, this is the teacher for me. So how we decide this is the teacher who is most kind to you. There's someone who is kind to you, more kind than others. And this you recognize as your teacher, you develop a relationship, and you make offerings to this teacher. By making offerings to this teacher, you accumulate much more significant merit. Otherwise, as we said, there are many Lamas. You could spend your whole time, your whole life going around, oh, I'm going to meet this Lama, I'm going to meet this Lama, I'm going to meet this Lama, make offerings to this one, to this one, to this one. Yes, there is some merit, but it's not the significant merit that we are talking about here. We have seen in the text, it says, making offerings to your guru creates merit that is more than the merit that making offerings to all the Buddhas. So where else are you going to find these opportunities? It's very hard for you to go and make offerings to all the Buddhas, isn't it? At one point, you have to recognize someone as being your guru and then make offerings to your guru. And then we have this other quotation that says the Buddhas himself, they enter the body of the guru, and in this way they will accept your offerings when you make offerings. So keep this in mind. So, it's as I say, we tend to use the term Lama or Guru or teacher quite liberal, so we say, oh, that's a Lama, the other one's a Lama, they're all Lamas. But in reality, it is not like this, and it's not good to just go around and rely on everyone who happens to be passing by, right? So for someone to become your guru, for someone to become your Lama, it must be someone who is qualified. Actually, we will come into that section that lists all the qualities that a teacher must have. And what we are advised there is that before we decide that we take someone as our teacher and that we will rely upon this person, we have to check upon the character and the qualifications of this person. Does this person fulfill this list? Do they have all these qualities or not? Who is this person? Is it someone who is interested in just grabbing a bit of money, making money? You know, who is this person that I'm going to take as my guru? In Tantra, it says that you should examine the Lama for 12 years before making the decision. It's not only that the Lama should have a list of qualifications that we will mention here in the Lamrim, but also, as we said, it should be someone who has the capacity to lead you all the way to the end of the path, not just portion of the path, but the entire path. They should have that knowledge, they should have that experience to do that. And just as you are examining the Lama is actually examining you. Like, am I going to take this person as my student? Do I want to keep this person as my disciple or not? So it's a process of mutual examination. The student is taking up the qualifications of the Lama is taking the qualifications of the student. And, you know, after a while, as we say in Tantra, it says 12 years. So it has to be quite a thorough examination. So finally, both of them, they make the decision to have this type of a teacher-student relationship. So when, from your own side, no one can impose on you, you take this as your Lama or this is a Lama. From your own side, you examine and decide, yes, this is going to be my teacher. I want to rely upon this person. Then properly relying on him, making offerings to him and so forth, this becomes a method for you to accumulate great merit. Anyway, Geshe-la says we are coming into this section of the qualities of the Guru and their mutual examination, and hopefully that will clarify a few doubts. Thank you.